So our today's topic is ratio and proportion. Now I'll explain what is meant by a ratio. So the basic definition for the ratio is between two numbers, which is x and y. Okay, between x and y is expressed as x is to y and x by y. So these two dots we call it as is to. X is to y or x by y, both are the same. Okay, both are the same. And if the question says something like this, what we can understand, that is the ratio between x and y. The first term we call it as antecedent. Okay, the first one we call it as an antecedent, and the second term we call it as a consequent. But in the future, it will not at all be useful. So maybe formulas will include this antecedent and consequent, but we didn't use while solving the question. So finally, our intention is what we need to find the correct answer for the question. So instead of remembering it, how it is called. Okay. So simple words, low. Just we need to remember it. That's it. Now, ratio expresses the relation between two or more similar quantities. This is the most important point. So ratio can be expressed a relation between two or more similar quantities. So instead of having a ratio between any two quantities or more than two quantities, there should be a similarity between those two quantities. Okay. Now see, ratio between 300 to 500, that is 3 is to 5. Okay. So 600 to 1000 also, that is 3 is to 5. The ratio is same, the numbers may be different. Okay. So here the ratio between two numbers. Here the ratio between two numbers, that is 300 and 500, the ratio is 3 is to 5. And we have to know about the inverse ratio or a reciprocal ratio. And I already told you what does mean by a reciprocal. Reciprocal means what? 1 by the actual number. Okay. So A by B, the reciprocal or the inverse ratio is what? 1 by A by 1 by B, or we can also call it as B is to A. So inverse ratio of A is to B is B is to A. So this is how inverse ratio B. And you need to remember this note because this is be useful for some time in some questions. Multiplication and division does not affect the ratio, not the similarity and similarity to add or subtract. Okay. Now I'll give you an example for this. Just have a look. Okay. Now previously we have taken 300, 500. Now we know the ratio, that is 3 is to 5. Now multiplication division does not affect the ratio. Now I am just multiplying with 2, for example. So I am taking 300 into 2 and 500 into 2. Now again you will get the same, which is 300 by 1000. The ratio is again 3 by 5. So which means multiplication does not affect the ratio. And similarly, if you divide also 300 by 100, 500 by 100, that doesn't affect the ratio directly. You get it as 3 is to 5. But here you need to be concentrate on add or subtract. Now I am adding a value. For example, 300 plus I am adding a value as 50, and 500 I am adding a value as 50. Okay, so this will be 350 by 550. 0 0 gets cancelled. So 3 5 sevens are 5 11s are. Now see what's an ratio now, that is 7 by 11, that is not equal to 3 by 5. So be clear, multiplication division does not affect the ratio, but addition or subtraction will affect the ratio or changes a lot. Okay, it changes the solution a lot. So be clear be clear about this point. Okay, now we have few more important points which related to the ratios, that is this one. So if A and B and C and D are two ratios, maybe non-math students feel uncomfortable to listen this, but these are all the things you have to know. You may be remembered or you may not be remembered, that's your wish, but you need to know about these things. These are helpful to solve few questions, so that's why I'm telling you. If A and B and C and D are two ratios, the ratio compounded two ratios is AC is to BD. So while solving the questions, you can easily understand. And if three ratios are given, A is to B is to C, and E is CF, the ratio will be ACE. Now in place of the variables, if you take a values, it will be very easy to understand. Now sometimes it can be asked about a duplicate ratio or a triplicate ratio. So duplicate ratio of x is to y is x square is to y square, which means the simply a square of that. Triplicate ratio means what? Do means what? Two. Okay. Do means what? Two. Ratio. Tri means what? Tricycle, triangle, triangle antar kada. So tri means what? Three, which is x cube is y cube. Okay. So duplicate ratio of 2 is to 3. What is the duplicate ratio of 2 is to 3? Which is 4 is to 9. Something like that. Okay. Something like that. You will get a questions, but not exactly in your examination, but you have to know it. Next, subduplicate ratio. Subduplicate. Duplicate means what? Square. Subduplicate means what? Under root of x, under root of y. Subtriplicate. Triplicate means x cube and y cube. Subtriplicate means what? 3 root x and 3 root y. Okay. Now, so this is one more important point you need to remember, that is, if these three ratios are equal, like A is to B, B is to, C is to D, E is to F. If these three ratios are equal, then each of these ratios are equal to the following. Now be clear, if these three ratios are equal and the following ratios are also equal. See, A plus C plus E, which means addition of first three terms is equals to addition of last three terms. So be clear, addition of first three terms is equal to addition of last three terms, or you can call it as addition of antecedents and addition of consequence. Next, this is about addition. And if the above A is to B, C is to D, E is to F, if these three are equal, subtraction of antecedents and subtraction of consequence also equal. So A minus C, C minus E equals to B minus D, D minus F, and these are equal. Next, if constants are continuously multiplying, if constants are multiplying with this, then those are also equal. So RA plus SC plus TE, and if you observe, A is the first term, C is the first term in the second ratio, E is the first term in the last ratio. And see, our multiplication, I mean, a constant is multiplied with the first ratio, that is R. Okay, a constant multiplied with the first ratio, and other constant is multiplied with the second ratio, and other constant is multiplied with the third ratio. So if these are multiplying like this, those are also equal. Okay, and you may get the questions like this. If you know this pattern, then you can directly go with the answer for the question. See, if A is to B, C is to D, E is to F are 1 is to 2, then 3A plus 5C plus 7E. See, 3B plus 5D plus 7E. See, constant is adding to the first ratio, which is AB, and one more constant is adding multiplying with the second ratio, and one more is constant adding multiplying with the third ratio. So if these three are equal, so 3 is added to multiplied to A and B, 5 is multiplied to C and D, and 7 is multiplied to E and F. So if these three are multiplying like this, then we can directly say that the ratio is 1 is to 2. Okay. So there is a lengthy explanation for this. Actually, you no need to know about it, because if I discuss that, it will be a time based process. It's not at all important for us. So you can simply remember this formula. Now, next, when it comes to proportion, so as of now we discussed about the ratios. Now when it comes to proportion, so see this point, the equality of two ratios. So as of now we discussed only about one ratio, and if we have two ratios, then that we call it as a proportion. The equality of two ratios we call it as a proportion. See, A is to B equals to C is to D is also expressed as AB is as CD. Now be clear, these two symbols we call it as is to, and these four dots, for these four dots we call it as is as. So that is there here. So I may forget about this, that's why I wrote it here itself. So A, B, C, D are in proportional if the ratio of first two quantities is equal to the ratio of last two quantities, which means AB is as CD. Then it is read as A is to B is as, be clear, C is to D. The symbol 4 lines stands for is as. So these are the complete basics, the ratio proportion basics. So generally, if you go with any institute or anywhere, they don't discuss basics in detail. They no need of discussing that. Directly they'll give you questions and they'll discuss that. So that is the actual way. Even I did the same, because I need to follow some criteria in the institute, because so they'll give only 1 hour to discuss ratio and proportions. So I may not focus this much before, because the 1 hour time is not at all sufficient to discuss these basics. But here in my class, I'm giving you 1.5 hour time for a ratio and proportion. So that's why first half an hour I thought of discussing these basics. So if you know these basics, then it will be very easy for you to go with the other questions. So if you know the basics, what does it gives you? It gives you a confidence. So if I directly give you a questions also, you can solve it. So few of you can solve it. Even I can explain from the first question itself. But I thought of discussing basics because I want to give my 100% to you. That's why I'm discussing first half an hour basics. So after maybe 20 minutes or 25 minutes, then I'll discuss the questions. And that is anyhow I know it how to discuss ratio and proportion in 1 hour, that I will discuss. But this is I'm just giving you for you only. Okay, this is not for any other students, like any institute students. Even I didn't discuss this before. Now I am discussing it. Now the first and fourth terms we call it as a extreme terms, because that is a extreme outside terms. So extreme means what? Outside. And second and third we call it as a mean terms. Okay, so what are the extreme terms? Now if you take A is to B is as C is to D. Now what are the two extreme terms? First and fourth we call it as a extreme terms. So those are all what? A and D. So A and D we call it as the extreme terms. And when it comes to yeah, so when it comes to second and third, which is B and C. Okay, so these B and C we call it as a mean terms. Okay, and we have a formula for that also. The product of extremes is equals to the product of means. You just remember this formula. And for every proportion, see the definition for that. For every proportion, that is product of extremes equals to product of means, that is this. If two ratios are given, if only AD and BC. AD and BC is nothing but what? Proportion, representation of proportion. For example, in proportion 3 is to 9, sorry, 3 is to 4, 9 is to 2. Now we know that product of extremes. Product of extremes means what? Which is 3 is to 12. The questions will be framed in this way. So 3 is to 12 is as same as 4 is to 9. Now you may think it, what is the question in it? Okay, so simply they will give you like this: 3 is to 4 is as x is to 12 and find out x. Okay, they can be give like this. So in that way it will be very helpful. Product of extremes is equals to product of means. So this is how you need to solve. Now when it comes to few more definitions, that is a direct proportion and inverse proportion. Inverse ratio is different, inverse proportion is different. Inverse ratio is nothing but what? Those are all similar, but not exactly. There is some different criteria we need to remember. So direct proportion, I just gave you a definition for that also. If one quantity is increases, if one quantity is increases or decreases, then the other quantity is also increases or decreases respectively, which means if one quantity is increased, the other quantity is also increased. If one quantity is decreased, the other quantity also decreased. Now the best example for that will be the number of articles and the price of articles. Okay, the number of articles are increased, obviously the price of articles also increased. So that is the very general thing. Okay, the very general thing is that, that is direct ratio. Most of the cases, if anything is increased, obviously the other thing also increased. In a general case, that we can call it as direct proportion. Now when it comes to inverse proportion, if one quantity increases, then the other quantity decreases. If one increases, others is decreases. And the second point is, if one decreases, others will be increases, which means the inverse proportion, that we call it as. And see the definition, I mean the example for that will be the number of men and the number of working days. If men are increasing, obviously what? Their working days are decreasing. That's very clear thing. And if you take other example, if you increase the speed, the time will be decreased to reach the destination, right? Obviously, that is how we need to remember. So these definitions you need to just keep that in a mind. Next, continued proportion. There are three numbers are to be continued proportion. If you want to say three numbers are in a continued proportion, then the ratio of first and the second is equal to the second and third. See, 4, 6, 6, 9. These we can call it as a continued proportion. So continued proportion we can also represent like this. Okay,
4 is to 6 is to 9. Okay, so 4 to 6, what is a ratio here, which is 2 is to 3, and 6 to 9, again you will get a 2 is to 3. So 3 2s are 3 3s are 2 is to 3. So if the ratios are equal, then we can say those are in a, we can also say that that is in a continued proportion. Now when it comes to mean proportion we can also call it as a second proportion. If x is a mean proportion or the second proportion of a and b, then this is the syntax for that, and the formula will be x square equals to root of ab. Okay, so how do we find out mean proportion? You will get the questions like this: find out the mean proportion of 32 and 2. Okay, so what does it mean? Where do we find it? The actual formula, I mean the actual formula to find out is x square. Okay, x square equals to under root of 32 into 2, that is under root of 64, which is 8. Okay, now where do we practically find it? Okay, if you use this formula you will get it 8. But mean proportion means what? Means between 32 and 2, this 8 is a middle term. If you observe that, see, 32 is 8. Okay, what is the ratio here? 8 fours are 8 ones are. Okay, and 8 is to 2. 8 is to 2. See, 8 fours are 8 ones are. See, the ratio is equal, right? 4 is to 1 and 4 is to 1. So this we are going to find out. So what value gives you this equal ratio? What value gives you the equal ratio of 32 and 2? That we call it as a mean proportion. The middle value, okay, the middle value is not like average of those two. The middle value is not like average of two. The middle value here, the mean proportion means what? The middle value which gives you the same ratio, that we call it as a mean proportion. Okay, that we also call it as the second proportion. Now when it comes to third proportion, okay, the third proportion is what? If x is the third proportion of a and b, then a is to b. Okay, then a is to b. Give me a minute. Just saw it open. Okay, so a is to b is equals to b is to x, then x is equals to b square by a. This is the actual formula to find out. So you need to remember x mean proportion formula is square root of a and b, and third proportion value is b square by a. So how do we remember? Now I will give you a way to remember also. So here a by x is equals to x by b. Okay, now you can take it b to the side, ab equal to x square. So x equals to under root of ab. This is there here. Okay, next when it comes to a is to b, b is to x. So a is to b, sorry, a by b. Let's write like that, then you can easily remember. Okay, now so a by b is equals to b by x. Now our intention is finding x, right? So ax is equals to b square, x is equals to b square by a. That is there, you can check it. Okay, now example of third proportion, if they want to find out, 16 and 4 is 1. Okay, how do we find out? So 16 by 4 is equals to 4 by x. Okay, 4 by x, that we need to find out. 16x is equals to 4 into 4. So x value is what? 1. Now again, where do we practically find out? Where do we practically find out? Simple. 16 is to 4. The ratio is what? 4 is to 1. Again 4 is given here, which is the second value, 4 is to 1. This is the one which we are getting here. Okay, so simply you can use the formulas, you can find it. Next, so maybe you may get afraid of these proportion, the terms pronouncing complex, but if you go with for examples, then you can easily find out, because if you remember that formula you can easily apply. If you don't remember also, you can use these methods. If you don't remember the formulas, you can use these methods. If you remember a formula, you can directly do it. Now fourth proportion of a and b. Okay, fourth proportion of a and b is what? X equals to bc by a. So that is a by b equals to c by x. Ax is equals to bc. X is equals to what? bc by a. Now what about a fourth proportion of this 6 9 20? So simply we can do it like 6 is to 9, where do you get it? 2 is to 3, and 20 is to 30. 20 is to 30 is what? 2 is to 3. The same ratio. Okay, so final intention to find out the same ratio only. So that we called as a fourth proportion. So remember these formulas. Mean proportion is x square equals to square root of AB. Third proportion is x is equals to b square by a. Fourth proportion is x is equals to bc by a. So this is how you need to remember that. Now we'll go with the something which is very helpful formula. Now if a is to b is equals to m is to n and b is to c equals to p by q, these are the formula. A is to b equals to mpe by nq. Okay. Now if you remember that formula, it's fine. If you don't remember the formula also, I'll give you a easiest way of doing. So first we'll go with the formula. So that is A is to b 2 is to 3 is given, b is to c 4 is to 5 is given, c is to d 6 is to 7 is given. Okay. Now so here we have three formulas, I mean three ratios, A is to B, B is to C and C is to D. So we can write like this, A by B, and what we are going to find out, be clear about the question statement, A by D we are going to find. So A is A by B into B by C into C by D. Okay, see if you observe this one, you can directly find out A by D. See, B gets cancelled, C gets cancelled. So what we left with, A by D. Okay, now I'll go with the solution. I'm just multiplying every ratio to get a required value, that is A by D. Now 2 by 3 into 4 by 5 into 6 by 7. So 3 ones are, okay, I'll take other color to show. 3 ones are, 3 twos are, okay, and we left with what? That's it, I guess. 4 twos are 8, 8 twos are 16, 16 by 35. So that is the answer for the question. So A is to D. The answer for the question is 16 is to 35. Now we will try to solve this one with this formula. Okay, so A by B is given as 2 by 3 and B by C is given as P by Q. Okay, now first we are finding A is to C. Be clear guys. First I am finding A is to C. What is A is to C value? NP by NQ. So here M value is 2. P value is what? Sorry, 4 is to 5 I need to write. So here I need to write 4 is to 4 by 5. Okay, which is 8 M P. So this I need to multiply. Then NQ, which means this I need to multiply. So 2 into 8 by 3 into 5, which is equals to what? 16 by 15. 16 by 15. That is A is to C. Now I'll go with the other one because here we also have A by D we are going to find. So A by C equals to 16 by 15 and C by D equal to what? 6 by 7. Okay, so this is M, this is P, this is N, this is Q. Now A by D I am going to find out. If I am finding A by D, 16 6 are 16 into 6 by 15 into 7. 15 into 7. So 3 2s are 3 5s are. Okay, 3 5s are. So we are getting what? 32. Somewhere we did mistake. Yeah, so this is 8 by 15, so 8, so 8 to the 16, 16 by 35. So there are two methods to solve. One, this is the logical methods to solve and this is the formula based method. So which is comfortable to you, you just follow that. So hope I am clear as of now. The next we'll have a few questions. So given half an hour time is over, so I discussed a few basics, I mean lot more basics I can say. Then after that we will have a questions here. Now see this. If x times of a number is equal to y times of other number, then the ratio between the two numbers is 1 by x and 1 by y. Okay, so directly you can go there. We already learned algebra conversions and everything in a problems on ages concept. So how do we convert the data into the equation by using mathematical operations? I discussed that on that day. So directly you can take this value. So which is 5 times of a number. So generally a number means we are considering it as x and other number we are considering it as y. So first we need to read the data, then analyze. Okay, so first I read the data and in place of a number I am taking x and in place of other number I am taking y. 5 times means what? Into. 3 times means into. So 5 times of a number, which means 5x is equal to means equal
3 times of a other number. So 3y. 3 times of other number, that is 3y. Then find the ratio between the two numbers. Ratio between the two numbers means what? X by y we are going to find out. Okay. So I am taking x this side, sorry, y this side, x by y equal to 3 by 5. See, this is the answer for the question. Simple. Okay. And if you go with this formula also, you will get the same thing. 1 by x is 1 by y is as same as b is to a, right? B is to a means what? 5 times. So this is a and this is b. You can directly consider it as b by a. Okay. This is one solution which is easy, but sometimes it will be very helpful to solve. Next, if a sum of two numbers is x and y and the difference is sum of two numbers is x, the difference of two numbers is y, the ratio of two numbers is x plus y and x minus y. This is representing sum, and give me a minute. Okay, now this is representing a sum of two numbers and this is representing a difference of two numbers, and then the two numbers are a and b. A and b, those two numbers are simply x plus y by 2 and x minus y by 2. So if it is complex to remember this formula, then you can remember in this way. See, I'll give you a easiest way of solving. The ratio of sum and difference of two numbers is 7 is to 2. Okay, now I am writing here sum of two numbers x plus y by difference of two numbers x minus y, which is equals to 7 by 2, and it is asking what's the ratio of two numbers. Okay, actually the ratio of two numbers is the formula x plus y by 2, but if you don't remember the formula, then how do we do it? Simple. So 2x plus 2y, which is equals to 7x minus 7y. Okay, so 2x, let's take it 2x to that side and 7y to this side, because 7y is a negative value, so I am taking to the left hand side. So 7y plus 2y equals to 7x minus 2x. Okay, so this is 9y and this will be 5x. Now x by y I am going to find out, so I am taking 5 to this side. 9 by 5 equals to x by y is equals to what? That's it, 9 by 5. Okay, 9 by 5 is the answer. So this is the normal way of doing. If you don't remember the formula, this is the answer for the question. So what's the answer now? 9 by 5. This is the answer for the question. But if you remember the formula, so here x plus y by x minus y, which is given as 7 by 2. Now the two numbers are, so the two numbers are what? Simply x plus y by 2, x plus y by 2, and a, this is a, and b is x minus y by 2, by 2 x plus y, which is 7 plus 2, not by 2 I guess, x minus y 7 minus 2, which is 9 by 5. By 2 లేదు కదా, by 2 ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది? By 2 we need to get cancelled. Okay, so by 2 and by 2, 2 gets cancelled, we left with 9 by 5. So answer for the question is 9 by 5. You can also go with either methods. Okay, if you remember this method, it will be fine, or if you didn't remember the formula, this will be fine. So I am explaining two kinds of methods. One is a general method without knowing the formula, and other one is the formula based method. Okay, whichever is comfortable to you, you just follow that.